Okay, so in the beginning, I just want to that we talk about what is cancer. So you will tell me what is cancer. You will take notes and upload it on Moodle. Later, I want to ask you. Okay, we have been talking about cancer statistics. Yeah. So do you remember the cancer statistics? And we will go through all those things through from molecular changes to the causes, and then we will do a summary. And we will talk about this is the classical hallmark of cancer that is found in many papers, so we will give a quick look to that. Okay, so let's start. So what is cancer? So let's start with the first question. Okay, so we have already talked about what is cancer, and we said that it is a class of diseases, so no one disease, in which a group of cells display three main stages. So there are three main stages. I want that you describe the main stages. Yeah, so stop the video and remember to write what are those three stages. Okay, I'm sure that you already stopped the video and read it, and then you're going to upload it on Moodle. Now I'm going to continue. The first stage is when I show it to you as the primary tumor. So it goes from the primary site, yeah, from the first site, and it display uncontrolled cell growth, and it divide beyond their normal limits. Then you have a second stage when there is circulation, yeah, circulatory tumors. Then it go into the blood. Okay, that you can call that. Some people call it that is the stage of invasion, when the cell intrude or destroy the adjacent tissue and move into the circulatory system. And finally, the third stage, that is when it moved to a secondary place. This is how I describe it, but you can call it in a different way. That is the process of metastasis. That is when they spread to our location and how it had been spread. So that in the past it had traveled to the um, lymph and blood cells. Okay, so three main stages. Remember to write it down and to upload it on Moodle. Okay, so now we're going to talk about tumors. So we said that to have a tumor doesn't mean to have cancer, yeah, and yeah, not always, and that a tumor is a solid lesion formed by abnormal growth, and tumors can divide it. I talk about two groups here. They in these slides I divided into three, but these two are the same. Yeah, or are is a subdivision. So try to write down what are the characteristics of these two type of tumors. Yeah, stop the video and write down those things. What are the two type of tumors that we talk? So we talk about benign tumors that they don't grow in such aggressive way. Yeah, they grow, but the mitosis is rare. They don't invade surrounding tissues, and they don't spread, don't then go to metastasis. Yeah, and they. If you remember, we gave more examples that they are better differentiated than the other type of tumors, the malignant tumors, and the nuclei are smaller and are more regular. Um, and we already talked that they don't break the basal membranes, but they are constraining that region. On the other hand, you can talk about the malignant and examples of this one are moles and uterine fibroids. So important to not leave them. If we know that there are benign tumors there, it's important to not let them go to the following stages. So you have pre-malignant, that are ones that if you leave it untreated, they might lead to the presence of cancer. It's likely to cancer to occur, and later the malignant. So here they have an extra step, yeah, between benign and pre-malignant and malignant. Yeah, depend on the book, depend on the author, you will have different definitions, different stages, but the idea is remember that there are some that are benign that are constrained into one region, and the malignant that they have different morphology, and the main idea is that they metastasize and go to other places. Although I have been focused on cancer that come from the epithelia, because remember, high proportion of those cancers, all the cancers, the majority of the cancers come from an epithelia. There are other cancers that can appear, for example, in bones, in muscles, in the connective tissue. So not all cancer form tumors. Yeah. For example, the leukemia is a cancer of the bone marrow or blood cells that they don't form tumors, but the cells still divide uncontrollably and they can invade other tissues. Okay, to talk more about what is cancer, I want that you try to match the two columns. Yeah. So I want that you write what is which letter you will find here. So match the figure with the appropriate text. And I will give you 2 minutes so you can, it's pretty easy. And here they are just talking about all the things that we have been talking about, the stages of cancer. Okay, so now let me show you the answer. And here you can find the answer. So the first one here, this will be A. Yeah. The cell grow as a benign tumor in the epithelia. Yeah. So here you can see it growing. It doesn't break the basal lamina. However, look what happened here. The new thing is that the basal lamina is broken. So this is why B is the second one. So we already have A and B. And now let's see what happened. They invade the capillary. So here you see invading the capillary. Now in the next step here, so they start traveling and then suddenly they start adhering still in the blood close to a tissue. Yeah, so in this case is this when they adhere to the blood vessel wall in the liver. Yeah, they are still in the blood cell in the blood vessels, but now they are getting ready to go outside of the blood vessels, and this is what happened here. And this is E. Escape from the blood vessel to this mechanism, the extravasation. And finally, in F, um, in F and G, in F you see that there is more proliferation and metastasis, and later on this process will continue, and so it will not happen once, but it will happen. It will go to different places in the body. So it's constantly it become more common, and they start spreading to other tissues. Okay, so I hope that this was easy, and please you can upload it on Moodle these answers. Okay, so here is super easy. You know these three very famous people. So you have Enrique Iglesias here. I think it's this one, Natalie Portman, and Cindy Crawford. And all of them have something in common. They have a mole in their faces. Yeah, and the question is like, those moles seems to be well defined, and they have been there most of their life. So the question is, are those likely cancer, or are they those likely tumors? Okay, so try to answer that question. Okay, so the answer is pretty easy. As in the answer, they said that they have been there all their life, that they are well defined. Yeah, and based on that information, the most likely, yeah, is that they are not tumors and that they are not cancer. However, we don't have enough tools. There are more things to determine if this is a cancer or in the future will turn into a cancer or not. So we don't have enough information to determine definite, but based on that is well defined and they have been there for all their life, we might say that this person should go to the doctor, talk to the doctor, and it's very likely that they don't have anything. Okay, so now look, when you see this, you already get a scare, yeah? Even you haven't read the question, but you are already scared. I'm already scared. So look this. Here you have Mr. X that has a mole in his face, and in the last year is grown, and now it looks like it's moving into the surrounded skin area. Again, is this likely a tumor? Is this likely a cancer? How, what would you do? How do you, based on what you learned in the class, what would you suggest? Okay, so you stopped the video, you thought about it, and here, the first thing that I have to tell you is, unfortunately, I didn't study medicine, and you don't study medicine, so you have to go to a dermatologist to give you a definite answer, and they can do a biopsy. Yeah, based on this, we cannot say anything. But if I, in my case, if I found that one of my moles is turning like that and changing this, I will go right away because this is a very bad sign that is not well defined anymore, yeah, and that is changing. It could be nothing. It could be that you injure your, and sometimes without noticing, uh, you can cut yourself and you can lose a mole or it's disappearing moles. They can, some of them appear and disappear. So there could be many reasons, but the idea the doctor will take of this and they will observe it in the microscope, and when they observe it in the microscope they can look for landmarks. So is the tissue organized? Do we see, we can make stains to see if there are proteins that are normal or not, and there are different ways to test it. So good. So a conclusion, we are not doctors, we cannot diagnose, this will be unethical, but we can say if we see something like that, or somebody that is have these things, it's important that it goes to the doctor. These kind of moles are especially problematic in regions when there is more friction. So, for example, if you have moles in your feet, when you are constantly, for example, I love playing soccer, some of you love to play volleyball, basketball. So those moles, as they have more friction, there is more cell death. And when there is more cell death, there is more cell division to repair. Those moles can be more problematic. So sometimes people recommend it to remove them. The ones that are like these three-dimensional moles are also, some people recommend to remove it. But yeah, the best is to go to the doctor and they will give you the best suggestion that especially in this case dermatologists, they will know better. Okay, so now this is another question. We already talked about what is cancer, what are benign and malignant tumors. So now I want that you tell me, write down what is the statistics. How likely is that somebody in Canada, uh, in their lifetime, get cancer, and how likely that somebody in Canada died of cancer. So you can write it here. What is the expectancy of a Canadian to develop cancer in their lifetime, and how likely is that a Canadian died of cancer? Okay, so write it down. You should know, we already talked about that. Okay, now I want that you know the statistics and everything. I want that you tell me, that you try to explain me this figure. Yeah, so here you have the incidence, the rate of cancer, and here you have the age. Yeah, so you see that there is an increase with the age. I want that you explain the implication of this figure and you explain why this is happening. So take some time and write there your answer. Okay, so we already talked about what is cancer, what is the statistics. You already analyzed in the last figure that age and cancer are related, and you know that this is because of the accumulation of mutations. Now we're going to talk about the molecular characteristic of cancer. So I will ask you some more questions, and you will try to answer it and upload it on Moodle later.